What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, we got the Dungeon Defenders Awaken pre-episode 2 patch preview today. Now, with this particular patch, there will be a PTR upcoming, so we're going to be able to dive in, test out the game, find bugs, see what we think, and give our opinions on this patch before it actually goes live. Now, the PTR is targeted to launch a week from today. So next Friday, we should have some PTR action going. Maybe sooner, maybe later. That is their goal, is next Friday. So we will see as that PTR comes. Now, before we even get into this, one thing important to note, this is the pre-episode 2 patch. This is not the episode 2 content update. So this patch is quality of life features, balance changes, things that all came from the surveys that have gone out over the last several months. So those of you who took the time to fill out the surveys, this patch is for you, as this is the changes based 100% off your feedback. Now let's dive right on in. Now, first thing, an unexpected addition to the game, and something that has actually been straight up just snubbed the entire way, is pet transmogs. The transmog system is in. Transmogs are awesome, of course, and the pet transmog system is incredible. So this is a good thing to have. With this in mind, down in the description below, there is a link to Gleam.io for a Juicy Fruit pet giveaway. Make sure you get entered. We're going to have this one run for a week, and this will end next Friday night at midnight Pacific time. Now, pet transmogs mean you're going to be able to use any pet you want, but you're going to be able to give it the skin of another pet. So, oh yeah, Juicy Fruit Pets, let's go. I want to see you Juicy Fruit Pets attacking. I want to see you Juicy Fruit Pets defending. And I just can't wait for the pet transmogs personally. Was not expecting this feature, particularly because they have straight up said no for months and months and years now on pet transmogs. So here we see one of the Chromatic Gemstones in action attacking. So this is a gemstone, of course, but it looks like it's using the attack from the little wizard. So it's a little wizard pet equipped with a gemstone transmog on top of it. So good stuff there. Now jumping into actual gameplay changes. Sirens are being reworked. The Siren has been a point of frustration for many players and will be receiving a rework. The reworked version will be targetable by towers and have 2 abilities. The first ability is going to be mitigate damage to nearby enemies. The rifted version heals enemies as well. And then second, target players' defenses with a casted explosion. Now, this means if a Siren rolls out and you're standing on top of your DST stack, you're gonna blow it all up, y'all, so make sure you move when you see the Sirens coming. Now, additionally, we're getting more fusion pets. There's gonna be 4 new fusion pets added. The Monkey King was put here. That image was put on here by mistake. That is supposed to be the steam robot. So we're gonna get a fusion steam robot. We've got the Cloud, we've got the Ethereum, and we've got the Dragon. I am most excited, I think, about the Steam Robot and the Ethereum. Those are both very similar in effect. They both have cleave damage, and they're going to be a melee pet that just wrecks lanes. So, of course, we're looking for more and more fusion pets. We're going to get 4 new ones here upcoming, and there is hopes that more will come in the future. Now, buffing defenses. This is the meat, really, here. And I was surprised they didn't go into more detail here. All it says here is they're going to buff defenses. However, we don't know what defenses are being buffed. And, you know, we all want our poons, y'all. We want the poons. So I reached out to Phil right during the live stream and then talked to him again a little bit afterwards. And I don't have what is being changed with particular defenses, but I can confirm defenses that are getting buffed. The Spike Blockade, the Slice and Dice, the Harpoon Tower, the Bouncer Blockade, the Explosive Trap, the Inferno Trap, the Ethereal Spike Trap, the Magic Blockade, the Physical Beam, and the Roots of Purity. So all of these defenses are getting buffs in some way. We don't know what exactly those buffs are going to be. We're going to have to find out next week as we dive into that PTR. Alright, now changing enemy elemental resistances from 100% to 75%. Now, I've got mixed emotions on this one. For the most part, this change doesn't really bother me too much. However, enemy resistances, of course, are a basic strategic mechanic in Dungeon Defenders 1 and Dungeon Defenders Awakened. So, in those situations outside of Rift mode, you're always going to want to use a Strength Drain or a Darkness Trap to strip enemies of their elemental resistance, or you're going to want to diversify your build and have, say, fire damage and lightning damage or electric damage. That way you're mixing the damage types. Now this is being changed. This does not change defenses, it only changes heroes. So that aspect of it makes it not really bother me much. My main concern is I want people to understand the basic game and how to build properly. And diversifying your builds with multiple element types are the way to do it. Now, as I mentioned, this is not going to affect defenses, though. This is only for heroes. That was clarified during the dev stream itself. So it means if you're using a lightning weapon and a lightning immune enemy comes rolling down the lane, you're still going to be able to do damage to it. It's just going to be, you're going to be doing 25% damage. So it's reduced down. Now, rifted enemies. This is another one. I know most people will rejoice over this one. I personally have got mixed emotions as well. Rifted enemies will be dropping fusion gear. Now, this means that the targeted rifted or fusion loot that we currently have will still be in the game. However, any rifted enemy will have a chance of dropping a piece of fusion gear. Now, this means it's going to be easier to put those sets together. My question, I guess, is more of a long-term kind of design question is, right now, Rifted mode makes the other game modes kind of obsolete. And this change is going to allow players to get to that point even faster. So, Rifted mode, you're going to get the fusion gear, and it's going to make the other game modes obsolete faster. Now, hopefully with the addition of runes in the Episode 2 update, and maybe even some changes to how the non-rifted gear sets work and drop, could bring some relevancy back to those other game modes. So excited to see what they do there. Now, with Dungeon Defenders going rogue, of course there are some things different versus DDA, and one of them is the Shroomy Pit. The Shroomy Pit in going rogue is kind of a geyser type defense that will launch the shrooms instead of having it run across the ground. Now, as anyone who has used the Shroomy Pit can vouch, the running across the ground, it definitely has a cool factor to it and a fun factor, but its effective level is very, very low. This could add quite a bit more viability to that particular defense, and it does look cool launching all those shrooms, so I'm excited to see how that will work. Now, another change from going rogue is the Warden Sprout is going to be changed. This is the alternate fire for the Warden. Instead of throwing it on the ground and running over to pick it up, it's going to be more of a projectile like it is in going rogue. This particular change I am pretty happy with as well. As you're playing the Warden, it's nice to have that ranged attack that you can throw out there, and this will clarify it and make it a bit easier to use. Smart upgrade and repair. This has been one of the items at the top of my list ever since the beta. And that is, if you have a stack of traps and auras, it is just a huge pain in the butt to go through and repair or upgrade each one. Now, Dungeon Defenders 1, of course, had an absolutely incredible system for this, and they are going to be bringing a similar system to that into DDA. So it's now going to be a lot easier to upgrade and repair, and the upgrades will be smart. So, for example, if you have an electric aura and its snare aura, an explosive trap, an inferno trap, and a buff beam, all stacked, or an overclock beam, all stacked on top of each other, what's the smart thing to upgrade? Well, the smart thing would be to upgrade the buff beam. In Dungeon Defenders 1, it's going to automatically target your buff beam, and you're going to be able to upgrade it first just by spamming the upgrade button. It is going to target the buff beam here as well. So this is a very, very welcome change and huge quality of life. Now moving on to item culling. Now, first off, a lot of people don't understand what item culling is. When you see items disappear off the ground, that is item culling. How it works in Dungeon Defenders Awaken is there can be 40 items on the ground at a time. When a 41st item drops, the lowest item power item will then disappear. This has led to some problems just with how item power works in the game, and sometimes it's like sucking away all the armor, all the weapons, all the offhands, etc., as the lower item power items are disappearing. And this particular change to Culling will put armor into its own pools. It'll put weapons into its own pools, offhands into its own pools, etc. So the new Culling system is there's going to be 20 pieces of armor, 10 weapons, and 10 offhands on the ground. This means that ground loot should be much more effective for you to run around and look at. Additionally, pets and accessories will no longer get culled away at all. They'll either be picked up by your auto loot or auto sold when you start a new wave. So you're not going to have to worry about your pets and accessories disappearing as well. Now the next item is a pretty big quality of life item as well. As we know right now, you place down a lot of different defenses, and the targeting range appears completely blinding you and making everyone's eyes bleed. This has been changed, and the defense range decal is now going to be the one from Dungeon Defenders Going Rogue. So it's going to be transparent, you're going to be able to throw it down, and it's not going to make your peepers bleed out like it currently does. The sell all hotkey, meaning you don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. If you want to sell all, you're just going to be able to do it. On PC, this is going to be left control plus S, holding S, and it's going to sell all items. On the console, it's going to be the left stick holding down to sell all items. It will pop up a warning asking you, making sure you want to sell everything. As you know, we all know how that goes. Selling all sometimes works out to our disadvantage. Adding Force Ready up on the Escape UI for consoles. This is huge, particularly for public games. On PC, you can Control G. Every PC player knows about Control G. What that is the host of the match can force start the wave. So no longer will you have to be waiting for that slow teammate that doesn't want to ready up. You're going to be able to force start the maps on consoles as well. Now, that is it for this particular update. Now, of course, all the defenses is the biggest part, in my opinion, of this update and the thing I want to test out the most. So, PTR next week for PC players. As we get closer to that, I will be putting a video up on how to access the PTR, etc. However, get ready to work out your spike blockade, your slice and dice, your harpoon, your bouncer blockade, your explosive trap, inferno traps, ethereal spike traps, magic blockades, physical beams, and roots of purity, as all of these defenses have been buffed. But that will do it for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.